Bill, we're live and ready to go when you are.
Great, thanks, Heather. Just need Noreen. Did you hear from Noreen?
I did not know.
We'll give her another minute. Okay. I think I got 7:01. So Heather, whenever you're ready, we'll start recording.
All set.
Okay, great. Thank you, everyone. Welcome to the Town of Henrietta Conservation Board. Tonight, November 5th, 2020. As a reminder, this meeting is being recorded and available online. Roll call. Santos Fabian is here. Ron Savaglia, Bud Snyder's here. Steve Coffey's here. Noreen Reardon is not here, and Sarah Hogan is here. First item on the agenda is approval of the October 7th, 2020 minutes. Is that right, Heather? Or is it 10:06?
Should be 10:06.
10:06. Thank you. So gonna make a correction on the agenda here. So approval of the October 6th, 2020 minutes. I need a motion for those, please. Thank you, Robin. I need a second for those, please.
I'll second.
Thank you, Steve. All right. Is there any discussion about the minutes? Hearing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? The minutes are approved. Thank you. 6-0. Board member reports. Any members have something to report? Nope, not seeing anything. We'll move on to applications. This is application number 20-010-4799 West Henrietta Road for review of final site plan for 2 restaurants fronting along West Henrietta Road and 2 proposed office retail buildings fronting Lehigh Station Road on 5.2 acres. And this is in a commercial B1 zone district. And we did see the application last month, and we have a presentation again this month. We had some questions for you, some comments. Come on, I don't have the attendance list, I'm sorry, so I can't announce your name. But if you could announce who's here and.
My name is Connor Comer. I'm project engineer with BDS Companies. Also with me is Heinrich Fisher, landscape architect that brought up this project. And also with us virtually via Zoom is Bob Wine, is also BDS.
Connor, can you check your microphone is on? There's a little button right at the bottom.
Oh, yep, Can you redo that? Thank
Yes,
you.
absolutely.
Oh,
Yeah,
there you go.
please.
Now we
Thank
hear
you.
Great.
My name is Connor Comer. I'm a project engineer with GDS Engineers. With me is Heinrich Fischer, landscape architect that we brought on for this project. And also with us virtually via Zoom is Bob Winans of DDS.
Great. Thanks for coming out tonight.
Sure. Thanks for having us. And thanks for coming in. So I figured I would just do a quick intro, reintroduce the project to familiarize ourselves again. So the project is located at 4799 West Henrietta Road in Henrietta. It's in the southwest corner of Lehigh Station Road and West Henrietta Road, surrounding the Wendy's property. Currently, the property is 5.2 acres with a vacant, dilapidated building on site. In general, right now, the grade flows steadily from northwest to southeast. There's a relatively consistent grade change, decent size. The development in general contains a retail building of 17,000 square feet, an office building of 8,900 square feet, and 2 quick service restaurants. QSRA is on the south side of 3,500 square feet, and the north next to Wendy's is 2,200 square feet. The project will be serviced by public water, public sanitary. There will be on-site stormwater management facilities that will take care of New York State DEC's requirements for quantity and quality. And all required parking is there per code. I think that relatively takes care of the site in general. Heinrich made some revisions to the landscaping plan and took your comments into consideration, so I'll let him take it from here to talk about the landscaping.
Good evening. My name is Heinrich Fischer. I'm a licensed landscape architect. I reside on A Road in Fairport, New York. Questions?
So we had comments from the last, I'm bringing them up now. The last meeting we had 4 comments, but item 2 had like 9 items to it. So I could run through those if you like. So the first item was the Henrietta Conservation Board recommends to the Planning Board, the applicant needs to confirm that green space will be at least 25% on the lot.
I believe we have accomplished that. Do we have a percentage on that, Connor?
Yeah, so each site does have 25% green space. There is a chart within the zoning requirements that we have on the site plan that should
Okay.
cover that.
Okay. So item 1 was.
That includes the, did that include the pond, retention pond?
That's correct.
Okay, to the 10, 6, 2020 comments. There. Sorry, I'm writing as we go, so I apologize for that. There will be 25% green space on each lot. Okay, item 2 was more towards the landscape plan, and the HCB has the following concerns with the planting schedule. A, spruces are not salt tolerant, especially on the corner of the lot. So there was an area that was in a high traffic area, and we were concerned about that.
I think I have changed the plant materials all along that periphery to plants that are more salt tolerant.
Okay.
You know, obviously we can't have anything that's bulletproof, but
Yeah.
you know, some plants do and some don't. These in general, one will take a much heavier soil, which we have on site and in town of Henrietta, and also, you know, are a little more salt tolerant.
Okay, great. B was, in order to meet the Henrietta landscaping guidelines, the applicant should revise the plans in order to avoid a monoculture. Having too many spruces in a row could lead to a higher risk of losing an entire section of trees or insects to disease. So I assume from previous, you've modified that as well?
Yes.
Okay, great. More salt tolerant. B, more diversity. C was there are.
I'm having a little bit of difficulty hearing you distinctly.
Oh, sorry. I'll move the microphone in. I apologize. How's that better? C was there are cedar apple rust issues between junipers and crabapple trees on the same property. So we were concerned about that cedar
Okay.
apple rust issues. So how did you address that?
I have a 50-year background in design build in terms of landscape architecture and have many very strong contacts in the nursery industry. The plants we're utilizing are hybridized. The 2 crab apples varieties we have are not as susceptible as many other varieties to the cedar apple rust. There has been no problem with the junipers that I know of in New York State.
Okay.
And
So the
again-
varieties used are usually not susceptible,
The one
to
plant, the Adirondack crab apple, has been hybridized. It's probably been on the market for less than 10 years. And it has just gotten excellent reviews through all of the various testing facilities throughout the country in terms of disease.
Okay, great. D was the applicant should consider different types of ornamental grasses for the wet areas. Brown sedge and red top are more for bioretention areas that are moist but well drained.
The red top.
Yeah, so for the bioretention areas, we went with a seed mix that we have used in the past in Henrietta. It's the Ernst bioretention seed mix. So for the bioretention areas, we will be specifying that out as opposed to the previous plantings that we had proposed.
Okay, so you revised to an Ernst mix. All right, great. Great. D, that was D. E was consider non-fruit bearing trees near the parking lots for obvious cleanup issues, right? And you've
Yeah.
revised that.
The
you
only
said?
plants that have any fruit whatsoever are the 6 Adirondack crab apples, and those are, within a planting bed area and nowhere near any kind of parking facility.
Okay,
Very persistent, small fruit.
so the fruit plantings have been confined to other areas. Okay. Thanks. Moved to areas. F was confirm that the junipers are salt tolerant. I think there was a question on that, so if the junipers are salt.
Yeah, we've tried to, there are no junipers near any major roads. There are the junipers in the beds around the buildings themselves,
Okay,
which will be a much lighter application.
sure. Junipers will be used away from areas. Okay. G was on the landscaping plans, the applicant needs to identify the lawn areas versus the mulched areas. Just some more definition on that.
I believe that has been
Okay.
redrawn and, covered on the new application drawing.
All right, cool. So I'll say definition, the applicant stated definition has been added. Okay. H, plantings near asphalt and in strips between asphalt shall be heat tolerant. We were concerned about those burning out in the thin areas with asphalt on both sides, or is that,
Go ahead.
Yeah, so I believe that all of those plantings have been removed, any heat tolerance issues from Heinrich's latest design.
okay. Heat tolerant plantings added. Okay. And that was H, and then I was per HCB standards, there shall be 8 trees per acre, which currently the plans show that there are 37 trees where there should be 40. So those are, I imagine you made some modifications to reach the 40 mark?
Again, I could not.
I'm
hear-
sorry.
yeah.
We require 8 trees per acre, and with the amount of disturbed acreage, it was, you had 37 trees where we just required 40. So you may have increased that to 40.
We are approaching 60 or more
Okay, actual trees.
through trees. I felt from a design standpoint, instead of trying to create some screening with shrubbery, which creates higher maintenance situations, that adding trees made more sense, and it allowed us to do a little bit more in terms of diversification and varieties.
Great. So trees were, you doubled the amount of trees. Tree quantities almost doubled. Great. You said 60, you said?
I believe it's 60 or 62.
62, okay. Thank you, Sarah. All right, item 3 was for the lot QSRB, which I think was closer to the road. The HCB would like the applicant to consider a single lane for the drive-through in order to increase green space and maintain a landscape mall along the roadways per code. So what was the...
Yeah, so we're kind of held to keeping that 2-lane as a bypass. That's more of a safety thing than anything. Not necessarily changing your mind if you don't want to order any type of food, but if, for example, if there's a car broken down in front, all the cars behind it would be stuck without a bypass lane, or if there was any sort of emergency. I mean, it's Murphy's Law at that point. What we did do is previously QSRA did have 20-foot length parking spaces. We reduced those to 18 on either side. So we did make up 4 feet for additional green space between the two.
Green space, okay. So in lieu of deleting,
And again, for the lot for QSRB, we are meeting the green space requirements in general.
oh, okay, great. So in lieu of deleting the safety bypass lane,
So what's that dimension between, like where that little skinny strip is, from curb, back of curb to back of curb? You're showing lawn in that area?
No, I don't know off the top of my head, but I believe it's around 5 feet or so
reduced,
from curb to curb.
From face of curb to face of curb
Correct.
is 5 feet?
So it would be 4 feet of green space.
I'm just thinking in terms of lawn maintenance, like a lawnmower can get in there and mow that grass. You don't have to weed whip it.
Right, yeah, I think it would be adequate to, handle a deck of a lawnmower to mow through that.
so I'll say for item 3, in lieu of deleting the safety bypass lane, the parking was reduced to 18-foot spots, which added 4 feet of green space to the buffer zone. Okay. Then you had, let's see, we had item 4. The applicant should ensure that the trees in the state right-of-way are protected during the directional boring process.
Yes, we will be protecting those. We've supplied a tree protection detail on the
Okay.
plans for that, and they are DOT trees, so we will have to protect those trees.
Okay,
I think the comment was more or less related to the boring for the
yes,
roots, not necessarily, the tree protection fencing that goes around the tree.
Right.
I don't have the latest plans, but the last time I just remember we saw a lot of utilities that were kind of going right through.
right.
Yeah, so with the boring, we will be going underground pretty decently, around 5 feet. Those are only 3-inch caliper size trees in the right of way, so we should be avoiding those during the boring process.
So you're boring at 5 feet, you said?
Yeah, generally it's for water, so
Yep,
minimum cover, and actually under the DOT right of way, it'll probably be more than that. So.
okay. Great. So I'll say DO trees will be protected during the boring process. The water service will be at 5 feet below grade, will be bored at 5 feet below grade. Okay. Do we have any other comments tonight? Steve, I'll start with you.
I was just, was the parking study, was that part of any of the, proposals that we were looking at? I remember something about parking, the parking study was going to be, I thought, especially from,
Parking study or traffic study?
maybe it was traffic study from the West Henrietta Road part.
Oh, the traffic
Yeah, so
study.
the parking itself, that's by code. As far as the traffic review study, the town engineering department will be reviewing that. They are having Barton and Low-Judas reviewing that. In addition to that, the New York State DOT is reviewing it, and the Monroe County DOT is reviewing it.
Thank you.
Okay, I've got a couple of items, actually 3 or 4 here. The additional trees that you're adding, particularly on the west portion, you wanted to reduce the setback from the residential area from 100 feet to 50 feet. Am I correct in assuming it appears on the drawing that a lot of the new trees or a lot of the trees will be put in that area to give additional screening from the west end of your property, screen from the residential, the apartment houses that are there?
Yes,
Am I correct in?
you are. And the other thing
Seeing
that
that.
is going to happen, it'll be on the drawings, and maybe we're calling for a stakeout of all the plant materials, then have the owner's representative, myself or Connor, go through and review it. And I know there was a comment made in terms of spacing of different trees. In this instance, I'm not really working with that as much as I am with the existing material on the other properties to try and fill in the holes to basically maximize what we can do with screening.
Okay. In regard to the traffic study and your revised drawings here, am I correct from the new drawings that you are not having or you'll have a no left turn exiting onto West Henrietta Road? That would have been a major concern in that area.
Yeah, that's correct. The New York State DOT came back and per the suggestion of our consultants, SRF, they were the individuals who did the traffic study. They had suggested that the vehicles coming into the development can come in from either direction, but if you're leaving, you must turn right and go south.
Okay.
So it's not necessarily a right in, right out, but just a two-way in and right out.
Does that mean then that you're going to be relying more on the eastern exit from the other parcel for cars leaving the restaurant area? Would that be more of an overflow concern about the traffic coming that way too? And of course, on that part, you allow a left turn onto Lehigh Station.
Yeah, no, I'm not exactly sure. So if you're going to be at the QSRs at either one of those fast food restaurants, it's going to be very similar to, it's going to be exactly the same setup as Wendy's is. So you either have the option to turn right, or you can go up to Lehigh Station Road and then turn right or left at that point.
Okay, now, the parcel, or the building B, restaurant B, is only about 2/3 as big as what appears going to be a Burger King. Is that kind of indicate less indoor dining? Obviously, both rely a lot on drive-through, but the parking is reduced to, for that particular building. I'm assuming that tends to be less of a indoor and rely more on drive-through.
Right. So the QSRB is right now, we do not have a tenant for that. So that is a conceptual layout that we're going through with the planning board to get final approval on. We understand that it is concept, and if there's any revisions made, we will have to come back and address those changes. But that is also based on the square footage set forth by code. So we, based on the size of the building, we're meeting the parking requirements set by code. So I would, from the size of it, I would assume that there would not be as much of a indoor seating as available as the QSRA, but right now we don't know what's going to go there.
Is that sort of a phase 2 of that particular parcel? What will that be until you begin on that? Is that going to be grass and planted, or are you going to have the pad there along with the pavement and the like while you're deciding what you're going to do with it?
Yeah, so more than likely what's going to happen is QSRA, they are our anchor tenant. That's our Burger King. And so while they have all the equipment out there, they may very well just mass grade the entire site, get it pad ready, and then completely stabilize it and seed it and make sure that there's no chance of any sort of runoff.
Okay, and that brings us to a subject I think we talked about last time, but just touching base on snow storage. You don't have a lot of space to push the snow, and you need to keep a lot of that area very clear. Do you have enough snow storage for a normal winter, or are you figuring on starting to cart the snow off site early on?
Yeah, so as far as snow removal goes, we do have some areas that the snow can ultimately be pushed into, and it will be treated one way or another, but we're in general following the guidelines by the DEC and the stormwater management plan. So we're following those guidelines for quantity and quality. That includes throughout the year, rain and snow and the melting occurs. Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, that's all I got.
Will the entire site be developed at the same time?
No, it will not be developed simultaneously.
Did you have to put the detention pond in first?
Yes, that's correct.
Wait, I thought you were saying that the entire site will be stabilized. Okay, so the buildings won't be built, but you'll stabilize.
You're correct. It'll be pad ready. So for marketing reasons, to get a tenant in sooner.
Gotcha. Okay, great. Thanks, Bud. Thanks, Fabian. Anything else good there?
Also,
All right, Robin and or Sarah, do you want to? Both all set? Okay, great. So we have the following. Let me restate. The applicant restated the characteristics of the project from the previous meeting. Responses and gave the following responses to the 10/6/2020 comments. Under item 1, there will be 25% green space on each lot. Under item 2, the planning schedule revisions, A was have more salt tolerant plantings were used. Under B, it was more diverse plantings were added. C, the varieties used are not susceptible to cedar apple rust. D, comment D, they revised to an Ernst ornamental grass mix. Under E, the fruit plantings were moved to other areas. Under comment F, the junipers will used, let's see, the junipers will be used away from salted areas. Under comment G, the definition of the between the mulch areas and the grassed areas has been added. Under comment H, heat tolerant plantings were added. And under comment I, the tree quantity is almost doubled to 62. Comment 3, in lieu of deleting the safety bypass lane, the parking was reduced to 18-foot spots, which added 4 feet of green space to the buffer zone. Under comment 4, DOT trees will be protected during the boring process. In fact, the water service will be bored at roughly 5 feet below grade, which helps in that protection. And then new statements that you made from questions, due to questions from us. The west perimeter screening is meshed together with the existing neighborhood plantings to provide a better screen. Better. A traffic study indicated that the DOT will only allow a right turn onto West Henrietta Road rather than both left and right. The entire site will be stabilized to be pad ready to reduce storm runoff and silt runoff, correct? Silt runoff. And snow removal was, let's see, snow removal is to be stored on site, shall be stored on site in areas, I'll just say on site. I'll leave it at that. I had no comments from the Conservation Board. It seems like everything's been responded. Go ahead, Sarah.
Can you, in one of your comments where you talk about the Ernst seed mix,
Yeah.
revise ornamental to bioretention seed mix?
Bioretention. So the comment from the previous, so you're saying that Ernst mix is still a,
They're utilizing it as a bioretention seed mix.
okay. Gotcha.
If we say ornamental grass, it may sound like an ornamental grass.
Well, I think the comment from last time was we were concerned that, let me get that up.
They had used a funky grass.
It was the, hold on, I got it right here. Brown sedge and the red top were more for bioretention areas that are moist but well drained. So there were some low areas that were going to hold some water.
Yeah,
And-
so they've revised their plan to utilize the Ernst seed mix in the bioretention areas, and then the areas where they were utilizing that specific grass as an ornamental grass, which was the wrong application, they've infilled with a different, more applicable ornamental grass.
Which one is that? So that's really that was really the issue.
Yeah, it's a Shenandoah red switchgrass.
Okay, so that revised the wet areas. I'm going to change that comment because the Ernst mix and the brown sedge and the red top were bioretention style grasses. So I will change the Shenandoah. That was our worry. There were some wet areas that had that couldn't hold the water, that weren't susceptible to growth in wet areas. So hold on.
And that's it.
All right, so I'll change that comment. So that's comment D. 2D, I'm going to change to they've revised wet areas to, can you spell that, Shenandoah, for me?
It's on here.
So the wet areas, the bioretention areas, they're utilizing a seed mix for that.
Okay,
I can help you write it.
okay,
And then the area along Lehigh Station Road where they had these grasses originally, they revised those to utilize more applicable ornamental grass, which is that
Okay.
Shenandoah one.
okay. Oh, there it is. Yep. Thank you. So that comment D now says revised bioretention areas to an Ernst mix and revised ornamental grass areas to a Shenandoah mix. Are there any comments? If not, I need a motion for that.
I'll make a motion.
Okay, Sarah to approve?
Approve.
Thank you. I need a second for that.
Seconded.
Thank you, Bud.
Yep.
Any discussion on this? And I have the comments correct? Do you agree with what the applicant stated?
Yes, I believe so.
Awesome. Hearing no other comments, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 If you're opposed, please say nay. Hearing no nays, the motion is approved 6-0. Thank you for coming in. Nice job.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. I don't see old business, no new business. Our next meeting is December 1st, 2020. And I need a motion and second for adjournment, please. Sorry, it's our next, just a reminder, our next meeting is December 1st, 2020. And I need a motion and second for adjournment, please. Thank you, Robin. Thank you, Sarah. All in favor? Please say aye. Aye? Thank you. Meeting is adjourned.
I will say that as